Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Hertz Trade Group, and this is your end of day market recap for Monday, the 8th, the eclipse day. I think the eclipse was much more exciting than the price action for the day, but regardless, we will go over some of the movers for the day. Risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes, only, not giving out any advice or recommendations. Well, let's start with the top line that I've got written down here for the themes of the day. Always kind of the big picture is what I start off with. TLT and bonds, which were the rates were going higher this morning when I came into the office, but they kind of neutralized, and TLT was essentially moved back to flat for the day. Keep in mind that you're going to have some fairly big bond auctions for this week. I think we have 3 of them. I think that I forget which one it is tomorrow, but you got the 10-year and the 30-year on Wednesday and Thursday. Tomorrow's a shorter term one. So that could cause some volatility in bonds. The dollar, not much of a mover, and the VIX fell 5% today just because the market really didn't do anything, right? There's not any volatility of the upside or the downside, and hence volatility going down. Kind of find that interesting because we do have a CPI report that's going to be on Wednesday. I think also that's why you're seeing not much of a move in terms of what the overall indices are doing. You could see from the open, the S&P moved like less than 10 basis points. The Qs, again, gave back early gains, but overall, we're talking about 0.2 of a percentage point. And IWM did the same thing, even though IWM outperformed and was up about 0.5%. So the small caps did outperform, but again, they gave back 20 basis points from the open. So I think it could be what we're waiting for is just more information. Market wants to hear about the CPI report, which I do, I'll insert my opinion in here, and I hope I'm wrong with the opinion, but I think that that this report that's going to come out on Wednesday, they're only looking for 0.3, and we know that 0.3 percent change month over month. Again, remember, in my opinion, the month over month is the most important because that's the fresh data. For some reason, they like to go over like what the 1 year is, right? I get that because it's important to know what the overall 1 year is, but really the new data is what's most important, and then the previous month just rolls off. Right. So it's 3.4%. Like, and if this moves, I don't think it's that much of a big deal. I think it's really, again, the month over month. That's the fresh data. Anything higher than 0.3, probably the market's not going to like it. If we come in line, I would view that as a victory at this point. But my guess is, and again, I'm not an inflation expert. I'm not measuring the different data points of what the housing and the rents and the labor and the commodities, but we know that a lot of the commodities have gone higher. We know that crude has gone up, copper has gone up, gold has gone up. Now, not all of those commodities obviously go into the CPI report, but oil does, and gas prices do, and they've gone up by a huge amount. So I would think, my guess is that it comes at 0.4, 0.5, but and 0.3, the market might actually like that. And then of course anything lower than that, which I view, unless something else, some other data point comes out much lower. But in any event, that the market seems like it's kind of fixated on that. Then, once we get that out of the way, I talked about this in the weekend member video, that then it's really going to be, we're going to turn to earnings season, and we're going to get banks. The big banks are going to start reporting on Friday, and on Monday, JP Morgan will be reporting. We'll also get Fastenal too, which I think is on Thursday. Delta, which always is also in the beginning of the earnings season. So really the market's going to kind of change to that. So overall, like, the main message, I'm going to try to keep this video short. The main message is, just be patient with this price action. The majority of what you're seeing, any names that are opening up 2-3%, they may go up for like another 15 minutes, but the majority of them they're getting really sold into, and often like very close to the opening print is the high of the day. And that's not new. That's been going on for about a week and a half at this point, but it's been pretty consistent, where We're seeing more action in the overnight market, which is always the case, right? The market gains more in the overnight market. When you buy the close and sell the open, that's a much better trade. But if you're trying to add things during the day, or or looking for trades, and you're not purchasing pre-market, on right now it's just very difficult. It's very difficult to get something to move. And if you're not being patient and letting prices come in a little bit after the open, it's very difficult. But overall, again, it's very difficult considering the indices are just not moving right now. All right, so that's the main message. Here's the S&P new 52-week highs, still outweighing more new highs versus new lows, 23 versus 3. And Starbucks, which has been a horrible stock this year. Also LW, Charter, right? Those are your names that went down. And it's important to kind of look at this, what this chart is telling you too, right? Because first of all, this data is not included, but we're seeing the 52-week highs really contract, not really seeing that much of an uptick, right? And new lows, certainly not like it was here, but I would just keep an eye on this. But yeah, since basically 322 was where we hit the high point, or excuse me, was that 321. Both wrong. 321, March 21st was the highs, and then since then the 52-week highs in the S&P have been contracting in terms of overall. Also, when you look at the new 4-week new highs, you are seeing, which has been my word of the not today, but I use this a lot in the weekend video. We're just seeing a lot of deterioration right now, right? And there was 45 new 4-week highs and 32 new 4-week lows. Again, this is just the S&P. And this is going to look a little bit different, but certainly, you're beginning to see those new lows, new 4-week new lows. I'll get it right. You're beginning to see them tick higher too. So overall, like to me, I'm gonna use the word again, deterioration, but overall things are not that bad either, right? And I think that the main thing is just to kind of be patient. And because we really don't know how this is going to go yet, in terms of looking at the technicals in the S&P. Yes, this was the big uptrend channel. We did break this on Thursday, and we're trying to basically hang in here. So it's very easy, and I think it's more that more that you can make the process easy of what you're doing, right? Price action is the most important, right? And if we start to break 52, 45, 50, then then you know that we've got further deterioration and the market is more in a contraction versus expansion period for now. And again, overall, we haven't really had a serious pullback, we know, in a while. So there's nothing wrong with this at this point. There's nothing wrong with the market taking a pause. And if that does happen, it will probably shake out a lot of that bullish sentiment. And I view that as a positive. But we want to kind of get to these conclusions sooner than later. Perhaps that CPI report will kind of begin to move the market. And the Qs are just sitting right in the middle of the value area. They have not essentially moved over since the last month. Right. Again, a little bit of up, a little bit of down, but overall, it's extremely flat over the last month. Really, the momentum is gone from this group. Small caps, again, go a little bit up, a little bit down, and not really much of anything else. The semis, we were kind of talking about this group towards the end of the day in the trading room. Again, they've lost their momentum too. There's a couple bright spots here and there, like ARM had a good day. There was a positive, article about them. Yeah, they're trying to turn higher there, and into the 50-day moving average. Nvidia seems like for now it just completely lost the momentum. And again, it's important to keep monitoring here because we don't know when momentum is going to go back. But I would watch this 862 level. That's your support. Overall, if it does that, and it's just sideways. And then SMCI, which is a bit weaker, that's the one that's trading below the value area, hence this pink all the way to the down. It just means here's the April value area and this is below. However, you still have the 50-day moving average. Note the trend line that I've got drawn. That's done a pretty good job at capping, knowing where there's some resistance. So, that's the semis, and I bring them up first because, they've been one of the market, leaders as of now. now. So I would just keep that in mind, that that group has for now lost its luster. Again, not breaking down, but just has lost the momentum. I mentioned with the top line, the next line, gold actually did okay today, up 0.6 of a percentage point, so tacking on some gains. There was some China overnight buying. Crude also came off the lows to finish down 0.5%, but the I think what was pretty strong here was copper for the day, continuing to go higher. So I just wanted to bring up the copper chart for you guys, just so that you can see what's going on there. Which this is the one that I want. But yeah, this is continuing to break higher and impressive at that. SCCO is a name that we have on our watch list. That was one of the stronger names I thought for today. Very nice movement, up 1.8%, right? And I view this as the best in breed out of the group. I'm also watching things like which I tweeted this out, but it just didn't really have much to it today, which is ATI. Again, there's nothing wrong with this. And I think if you go through some of these charts with names that are right like at that breakout point and not doing much, you just need a little bit more patience. Another thing that I thought was interesting was the transports, right? Pakar was a name from our weekend watch list. It did okay today, up 0.25%. But if you look across at the other strong names in the transports, right, there's this other one, which is I'm not sure how you pronounce the company name, so I'll just give you the symbol SAIA. Remember, this had a huge earnings move and is kind of gathering itself here, trying to push back to those highs. Also, another one that had strong earnings in the transportation area is XPO, which had a similar looking candle to SAIA. I hate that symbol, by the way. Just doesn't, not the easiest one. So that's where there is also a little bit of strength for the day. That stood out to me. IWM I mentioned was strong, and the banks had a good day today too. They were your best performer. KBE, which is the banking ETF, was up 1.5% for the day. Just a couple other names that were on my radar, and I didn't cover Bitcoin, but I thought that was an interesting move. But again, it's kind of even the same thing with the stocks. All of the movement is happening in not so much, Bitcoin trades continuously, but it's not happening. It's happening over the weekend. So, a lot of stocks in this space, the crypto miners, like, again, same thing. They're opening on the highs, and then there's really nothing to do with them in terms of trades. Now, if you position with and if you position in some of those names before the weekend, then that's great. Then you had gains, and you just have to basically manage that. But there's very little that's moving intraday at this point. I know I sound like a broken record. A couple other names that I'm watching: NTNX. It's a name from last week. Same kind of candle for the day. Not much movement going on, but above the breakout area, which is the April value area. Also, Datadog. I actually took a position in this today. I haven't traded this one in a while, but it was on. We set this up on our watch list for the weekend. It did break just above the value area, so I'll try this for as long as it stays above value. But it's it's been tricky considering what breadth is doing right now. And another one too that I thought looks interesting here is SE, although it did not get back above its 20, I think that's a 20-day moving average, but still finding support here and trying to move higher. Now, there's a few other movers out there, but again, it's more slim pickings right now. So if you're getting a little bit frustrated with this price action, today was a good day to actually go out and look at the eclipse, because here is the price action for the Qs today. I've mentioned that it's been sideways for the better part of a month, but look at the price action today. There's just nothing going on. Oops, what happened here? Right, there we go. It's just sideways. Here's your movement that I mentioned in the beginning of the day. Right, let's pause this one second. All right, so notice what the Qs did. Like that's right to the top of the value area. I mentioned this in the trading room earlier. I said, watch that top of value for the day. And sure enough, we, so again, you got like a little bit more than an hour of price action. And then that was basically it for the day. Moved down, we held the bottom of value. So the value area is doing a wonderful job telling you, what the story is. And notice the thinner value area for tomorrow. But why is that thinner? It's because this is based on all of today's price action, right? So 5 minute, right, and the value area for one day is based on the previous days. Again, it's thinner because we didn't go anywhere, right? The 1 hour chart, which you can see all the indices are right in the middle of the value area or close to it. Look at this price action for today. Very better to just kind of sit on your hands. But right in the middle of the value area. And again, this value area is based on all of last week's price action, right? Here's S&P futures, right? Also right in the middle of well, not right in the middle of the value area, but contained inside the value area, right? And here's IWM, which outperformed today. But that is also right in the middle of the value. I'm going to say right in the middle of the value area, even though it's not. But so we're waiting on more information. We're waiting for buyers, sellers to kind of pick up here. In the meantime, don't overtrade this market. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.